If your home was built more than 15 years ago, there is a very good chance something in your plumbing is not up to code right now. And the worst part is, most homeowners have no idea until they are staring at a flooded basement or a failed inspection. After spending over 25 years fixing exactly these kinds of problems, I have seen the same violations hiding in house after house. Today, I'm walking you through 8 plumbing code violations that exist in millions of homes across the country. Number 6 might genuinely shock you, and the bonus tip at the end is something most plumbers will not tell you for free. The first code violation on the list is S-traps still installed instead of P-traps, and this one is everywhere. If you walk under your bathroom vanity or kitchen sink right now and see a drain pipe that goes straight down into the floor in a sort of S shape, you are looking at a code violation. S-traps were standard decades ago, but every modern plumbing code has banned them, and for good reason. The problem is simple physics. When water rushes down through an S-trap, it can create a siphon effect that completely empties the water seal out of the trap. That water seal is the only thing standing between your living space and raw sewer gas. Once that seal gets pulled out, you have got methane, hydrogen sulfide, and other gases coming straight up through the drain into your home. You might notice a rotten egg smell near a sink that does not get used often, and that is a classic sign. The fix is to replace the S-trap with a proper P-trap, which routes the drain line into the wall rather than the floor. A P-trap holds its water seal because the exit arm goes out horizontally, which prevents that siphon action. This is usually a straightforward swap if you have wall access, and the parts will run you less than $20 at any hardware store. If your drain currently goes into the floor and you cannot reroute into the wall, an air admittance valve, sometimes called a Studer vent, may be permitted in your jurisdiction as an alternative. Check your local code before going that route, because not every area allows them. The second violation that shows up constantly is missing or improper drain venting. Every single drain in your home needs a vent, period. The vent allows air into the drain system so water can flow freely and traps maintain their seal. Without proper venting, you get that familiar glug 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 sound when a sink drains, or you notice one fixture draining slowly every time another one is in use. Those are telltale signs. I cannot count how many times I have opened up a wall during a remodel and found a bathroom sink or basement shower with zero venting whatsoever. Someone just tied the drain into an existing line and called it a day. The International Residential Code requires that every fixture trap have a vent that connects to the main vent stack, and the distance between the trap and the vent depends on the pipe diameter. For a 1.5-inch drain line, which is standard for most bathroom sinks, the vent must be within 6 feet of the trap. For a 2-inch line, you get 8 feet. Exceed those distances, and the trap can siphon out, giving you the same sewer gas problem I just described. If adding a traditional vent is not practical in your situation, an air admittance valve installed at the right height above the flood rim of the fixture may be an option. But again, local codes vary on this, so always verify before you install one. The third code violation on this list is no expansion tank on the water heater, and this one affects a staggering number of homes. Here is what happens. Most municipal water systems now require a backflow preventer or check valve on the main water line coming into your home. That is a good thing for public water safety, but it creates a closed system inside your house. When your water heater fires up and heats the water, that water expands. In an open system, the expanded volume just pushes back into the city main. But in a closed system with a backflow preventer, that pressure has nowhere to go. It builds up inside the tank and throughout your hot water lines. Over time, this causes your temperature and pressure relief valve to drip constantly, stresses pipe joints and fittings, and can actually shorten the lifespan of your water heater tank significantly. The fix is a thermal expansion tank, which is a small tank about the size of a bowling ball that mounts on the cold water supply line feeding the heater. It has a rubber diaphragm inside with an air charge that absorbs the expanded water volume. They cost between $30 and $60 and can be installed with basic tools in under an hour. The air charge on the tank needs to match your home's incoming water pressure, so use a pressure gauge on a hose bib to check that number before you install. Most homes run between 40 and 80 pounds per square inch. If yours is above 80, you have a separate issue that needs a pressure-reducing valve. By the way, if you are finding this helpful, I have written a guide called 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes that will save you $10,000. It is packed with repairs you can do yourself this weekend without calling a plumber. Scan the QR code right now or check the first link below. All right, let us continue. The fourth violation is an improper water heater discharge pipe, and I see this one botched more often than almost anything else. Your water heater has a temperature and pressure relief valve, usually called a T&P valve, mounted on the side or top of the tank. This valve is a critical safety device. If the tank overheats or the pressure gets dangerously high, the T&P valve opens and releases water to prevent an explosion. And yes, water heaters can explode if this system fails. The discharge pipe connected to that valve has very specific code requirements that most homeowners and even some installers get wrong. First, the pipe must be the same diameter as the outlet on the valve itself, which is typically 3/4 inch. You cannot reduce it down to a 1/2 inch line. Second, the material matters. It must be rated for hot water, so copper, CPVC, CPVC, or galvanized steel are acceptable, but standard PVC is not because it cannot handle the temperature. Third, the pipe must terminate between 6 and 24 inches above the floor or ground, pointing downward. It cannot be threaded or capped on the end, because nothing should restrict the flow when that valve opens. Fourth, it cannot discharge somewhere you would not notice, like into a closed wall cavity. You need to see it if it activates. I have found homes where the discharge pipe was connected directly into the drain system, which is a major violation. I have seen them terminated outside 3 feet above ground level, pointed sideways at a walkway. Every one of these is a code failure and a genuine safety hazard. The fifth code violation worth knowing is using the wrong transition fittings between pipe types. This is one of the most common problems I find when a homeowner or handyman has done repair work over the years. Here is the scenario. Your home has a mix of pipe materials. Maybe the original supply lines are copper, but someone added a repair section in galvanized steel. Or the old drain lines are cast iron, and a plastic ABS or PVC section got spliced in somewhere. The issue is not mixing pipe types itself, because that is often unavoidable in older homes. The issue is how the connection between them is made. When copper meets galvanized steel directly, you get galvanic corrosion. Two dissimilar metals in contact with water create an electrochemical reaction that eats away at the joint over time. The fix is a dielectric union, or a dielectric nipple, which puts a plastic barrier between the two metals. Without it, you are looking at a leak waiting to happen, sometimes within just a few years. On the drain side, connecting PVC to ABS requires a specific transition cement approved by your local code, or a mechanical no-hub coupling with a stainless steel band. You cannot just glue PVC cement onto ABS pipe and call it done. That joint will fail. Same goes for tying plastic drain pipe into cast iron. You need a proper Furco coupling or emission coupling rated for that transition. Take a look at any DIY repairs in your home and check those connection points. If you see tape, hose clamps from the automotive aisle, or mismatched glue joints, you have got a code violation and a future leak. The sixth violation on this list is a dryer vent or HVAC duct connected to a plumbing vent, and this one can actually be life-threatening. I know that sounds dramatic, but hear me out. Your plumbing vent stack goes up through the roof to allow sewer gases to escape and to provide air to the drain system. Occasionally, someone decides that vent pipe going through the roof looks like a convenient place to connect a dryer exhaust vent or even a bathroom exhaust fan. I have seen this more times than you would believe. The problem is catastrophic. If a dryer vent is connected to the plumbing vent stack, you are pushing hot, moist, lint-filled air directly into your drain system. That lint accumulates inside drain pipes, creating blockages over time. The moisture creates a breeding ground for mold, and the back pressure can push sewer gas into your living space through fixture traps. But it gets worse if an HVAC flue or any gas appliance exhaust is tied into the plumbing vent. Now you have carbon monoxide being distributed through the drain system and potentially entering your home through dry traps or any small gap in the drain piping. This is a code violation in every single jurisdiction in the country, no exceptions. Plumbing vents are only for plumbing. Dryer vents must have their own dedicated path to the exterior. If you go up in your attic and see anything other than drain pipes connecting to your plumbing vent stack, disconnect it immediately and run a proper dedicated vent for whatever was tied in there. The seventh code violation that plagues millions of homes is flexible drain hoses used as permanent drain lines. You know those white or gray corrugated plastic hoses that come with some sink drain kits or washing machine setups? They are meant to be temporary or for specific appliance connections, not as a replacement for proper rigid drain pipe. But I walk into homes regularly where someone has used an accordion-style flex hose as the main drain line under a kitchen sink or bathroom vanity, and it has been sitting there for years. The ridges inside those corrugated hoses are a magnet for grease, hair, soap scum, and bacteria. They clog far more easily than smooth wall pipe. They also sag over time, creating low spots called bellies where water sits and never fully drains. Standing water in a drain line means bacterial growth, foul odors, and eventually a complete blockage. Code requires smooth wall pipe for drain lines, whether that is PVC, ABS, or in some jurisdictions, polypropylene for certain applications. The fix is simple. Pull out the flex hose and replace it with proper rigid pipe and fittings. Under a standard sink, you are talking about 1.5-inch PVC or ABS with slip joint connections. The parts cost under $15 and the swap takes maybe 30 minutes if you are taking your time. Go check under every sink in your house right now. If you see corrugated flex hose on a drain line, you have got a code violation that is easy and cheap to correct today. The eighth and final code violation on this list is no shutoff valves at individual fixtures. This one might sound minor compared to some of the others, but when a supply line bursts at 2 in the morning and you cannot shut off the water to that one fixture, you will understand why code requires it. Modern plumbing code mandates that every fixture, every toilet, every faucet, every water heater, and every appliance connection has its own dedicated shutoff valve. That way you can isolate a problem without killing water to the entire house. In homes built before the 1980s, individual shutoff valves were often considered optional. Many were never installed at all. I have worked on homes where the only way to stop water flow to a leaking toilet was to shut off the main valve at the street, which means zero water for the whole house while you make the repair. Even in homes that have shut-off valves, the old gate-style valves are notorious for seizing up after years of not being turned. You go to shut one off in an emergency and the handle will not budge. Or worse, it snaps off. The modern standard is quarter-turn ball valves. They are reliable, they shut off completely with a 90-degree turn of the handle, and they rarely seize. Replacing old gate valves or adding shut-off valves where none exist is one of the best upgrades you can make. If you are comfortable sweating copper or using push-fit fittings like SharkBite, you can do this yourself one fixture at a time. Budget about $8 to $15 per valve, depending on the size and connection type. All right, here is the bonus tip that pros actually use and almost nobody talks about. Once a year, go around your house and exercise every single shutoff valve you have. That means turning it fully closed and then fully open again. This applies to every valve under every sink, behind every toilet, at the water heater, at the washing machine, all of them. The reason is simple. Valves that sit in one position for years develop mineral deposits and corrosion on the internal components. When you finally need to shut one off in an emergency, it is frozen in place. By exercising them once a year, you keep the internals moving freely, and you also get a chance to check for any drips or weeping at the valve stem packing. If a valve does drip slightly when you operate it, you have found a problem before it became an emergency. Tighten the packing nut 1/8 of a turn and recheck. This 5-minute annual walkthrough can be the difference between a controlled repair and a catastrophic flood. Pros do this on every service call without even thinking about it, and now you can do the same. That wraps it up. If this was useful, you will love the full book. 50 step-by-step plumbing fixes with diagrams, all in one guide. Link is below. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next video. Thanks for watching.